Are you facing rejection or disappointment today? Remember the burnt toast theory. Welcome back to day 11 of the July Creator Challenge, and I'm beyond excited for today's video because I feel like it's really going to bless you and encourage you. First, I want to share a story. Recently, when we were coming back from our trip to Orlando, we went to Universal. We were coming back home, and we originally had booked our flight for 9:45 p.m. When we arrived at the airport, we grabbed a bite to eat at Cask and Lauder, which was actually surprisingly great food for an airport restaurant. After we had eaten, we made our way to the gate, only to find out when we got to the gate that our flight had been delayed. Now, this wouldn't have been a big deal, except that I was scheduled to serve at my church the next morning, and my call time was at 6:15 a.m., which means that I usually like to get up at 4:50 to get my full routine in before I get really prepared and locked in to playing the drums for my church. The later our flight was delayed, the less sleep I would get. Now, hearing this news, I had two choices for how I could react or respond. The first one, I could have been extremely upset, and I could have started counting the hours I would have been missing of sleep the longer we waited to get back home. Or two, I could have remembered and thought about the burnt toast theory. Now, you're probably thinking, Red, what is the burnt toast theory? Well, imagine you're making toast for breakfast and you burn it. So now you have to spend more time making more toast, and it may seem like a minor or a major inconvenience, but it could actually be a blessing in disguise. It could be saving you from a bad car wreck on your way to work, or maybe it caused you to be late to a meeting. But as you're going into this meeting, you cross paths with someone that will become very meaningful in your life, someone you would have missed otherwise. I have two examples of this that happened in my real life. I was heading to a business mastermind. I left later than I wanted to because some things came up, and I'm rushing, and come to find out on my way to this mastermind, I was stuck in what felt like standstill traffic, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am going to be late to this event that I really invested money in, that I wanted to be a part of. Lo and behold, on my way there, when I'm in this traffic, it finally gets to the point where there's this huge wreck. And the burnt toast theory literally played out in real life for me in that moment. I was like, what would have happened if I would have left sooner? That could have been me in that wreck. Don't think these disappointments in your life are disappointments when really they could be divine direction. Don't think this interruption that is stopping you or holding you back may be the thing that's really setting you up for the future trajectory that God has, the plan God has for your life. I think of another story that could really help explain this. Is there was a season in my life where I really wanted to date this person, and I was like, I just don't know. I don't know if she's into me. I don't know why she's not into me. I felt like I was a catch. And I was just in this season of singleness. I was really longing to be with this certain person. And one day I was in this kickball group, and we were, after one of our practices, we were eating at this sports grill, and we were just talking. And I was explaining my frustration of thinking this person doesn't like me or doesn't care for me. And one of the girls in my kickball group actually said, I think I have someone that you might be interested in. And she showed me a picture. I was like, yeah, she looked cute. Sure, why not? I'm usually not someone to get set up on blind dates, but at this point I was like, something felt different. So I said, sure, why not? And long story short, that person that she introduced me to is my now wife of 5 years. And it's amazing to me is the disappointment and the rejection that I had from the other girl was actually the divine direction to get me to my wife now. Thinking of it in hindsight, of all the time that I was disappointed, all the time that I felt rejected by that person, that it was actually the divine direction, the divine protection that God was leading me into finding my now wife. I want to remind you that God has always got your back. As I always tell myself, if you get what you want, that is God's direction. But if you don't get what you want, then that's God's protection. You may not understand, we may not understand his ways, but we have to trust his will and his plan for our lives. Another way you could put this is people's rejection is often God's protection. Now, the next time things don't go your way, remember that you may be redirected to something better, something greater. Setbacks are set up. Sometimes when things don't go our way, they are actually going our way. That God's hand of protection, his hedge of protection is on our life. Now, with this in mind, I would love for you to comment below, how will you think and feel and approach these setbacks in your life with this new burnt toast theory in mind? I would love to know.